come into butterfly pose. So feet together and knees apart. And there's options. Feet can be close to your pubic bone or farther away. It's on a continuum of what feels good. And you might find setting yourself up with props under your shins, like a blanket or blocks under your knees or a pillow, can feel supportive for the bones. There's a lot of ways to approach butterfly. So as Monica's showing, taking it on your back is a nice way to wake up in the morning or start a yoga practice, letting gravity just open the hips over time. As Brian's showing, you can do this on a wall. It'll really allow gravity to take you and let some of the blood flow come into the hips more easily from the legs and feet. Or you can take a forward folded variation of this shape. Melody's showing this using props to support her hips on a blanket, to support her shins, and a bolster under your head or torso can be really nice. And Ivy's showing a little more flexible version. If you have enough range of motion, you can thread your arms under the knees. You can take a tortoise variation of this posture. So you choose the shape that feels really juicy in your body today, and then settle. Give your body permission to just be in the shape. Like water, these poses take a certain degree of surrender to experience. You can't grab water up with your hand and hold on to it. If you really want to experience water, you have to get into it and allow yourself to surrender into it. The yin shapes are like this. The more you allow yourself to melt into this specific pose, the more you'll find depth and newness in sensations, thoughts, and emotions that surface with your breath. So continue to breathe deeply and invite your breath down into the deep crevices and sensations in your body. As you breathe out, there might be a little bit of up as the belly comes in and out to press away old air, creating space in your temple to invite and invoke new life and new breath into your lungs. You might even find there's a pause at the top. And maybe a pause at the bottom of your breath cycle. There's really 4 parts, and your lungs even get a moment to rest at the top and bottom of your breath. So we pay attention to the direction of the breath, the length of your inhale and exhale. Maybe they even out. Maybe your exhale is a little longer if you're looking to find your body a little more tranquil. And then the size, really playing with the top and bottom of your breath in and out. You see how full and how empty. Let's take 2 more in and out of this. After that one. And to come out, if you're in a forward bend, keep your head heavy as you press away from the earth with your hands to inhale yourself back up to seated. Wherever you are, placing the hands on the outsides of the thighs or knees might help. Use a little arm strength to close your legs. You're welcome to sigh or moan. If you're on the wall, you might choose to straighten your legs. And if you're on your back, hugging your knees or massaging your sacrum. If you're seated, you can plant the feet and just hug your shins and round over your legs. Or you might choose to windshield wiper the legs back and forth or straighten them out in front of you. Counter poses are really intuitive, so do what your body's asking you, guiding you as you come out of this shape. And eventually work yourself into a place that's neutral. Take a moment to just scan and inventory of the affect of that posture. From here, let's move to our hands and knees. And we'll come into the dragon series, which is low lunge and yin, starting with our left foot coming forward. Your back knee can inch back with your foot. As you see, everyone's chosen to use a blanket. It can be a little extra padding for the kneecap. Your front knee can come well past your ankle. It gets into the Achilles and calf that way. And then again, there's variations in the upper body. So Brian's using blocks to help him be upright, and Monica's using her front thigh. Whereas Melody's chosen to come inside the front foot, this low flying variation. And Ivy's done the same, and she's flexible enough she can come down onto her forearms. Wherever you are, this is really a place to get into the back hip flexor, among other places. Wherever you are, breathe into where you feel this. Maybe that back hip crease, the low back, the side body. Take just 3 or 4 more big breaths in and out of this preparatory shape. Dragon series, in a non-muscular way, really warms our body and joint for deeper yin postures. Let's add a twist to this while we're here. So Brian will continue to use the blocks as you see, using his left hand as a lever to push on the thigh, and Monica's chosen to take a prayer twist. Melody's reaching back. She can get all the way to her foot to take this quad release, grabbing the top of the foot or the ankle. And Ivy can do this while still on her forearms. Take the appropriate variation for your skeleton. Let's just take 3 or 4 big breaths into this posture. Like all twists, breathe into the back body of the upper side, so the left side in this version. And exhale, feel the belly contract a little as you press away old air. 2 more, in and out of this shape. After that one. On your next inhale, release your hands to the ground as you exhale, or keep your blocks, and we're going to move back to stimulate the hamstrings, so a version of splits or a forward fold. Again, Brian's keeping the block so he can support himself in this half monkey pose. Monica's seated all the way back. It's called a 3-faced forward fold. You can see with Melody, she's chosen this half frog, which opens the groin a bit and isn't right for everyone's knee. And Ivy's flexible enough, she's taken full monkey pose. And then they can all move into a forward bend, just like you, as your body's ready. So we create a little lengthening in the upper back and across the back of the neck, letting the chin even fold in. Wherever you are, take a few more really generous breaths into the sensations in the back of the legs, back of the torso, and out of the belly as you allow your body to sink a little heavier. Just 1 more in and out. After that, breathe into something new. Transition to the other side, so inhale yourself forward back to your hands. And before switching legs, you could pass through tabletop or down dog, or anything else that's going to feel kind on your body. Make some sounds if you'd like. Move the hips and the spine around a little bit. It's a place to reintegrate and assimilate some of that intentional stress we put on our body. Low lunge on the other side eventually will look like your right foot coming forward. Letting the knee come forward to the ankle if that feels good on your bones, and allowing the back foot and knee to walk back as far as feels good. So likely you'll take the same variation on the other side unless there's an injury, using the blocks or the thigh, bringing your hands or forearms down to the inside of the front foot. And even if you look similar, I wouldn't expect it to feel similar. Our skeleton's really uneven and our soft tissues do the best they can to balance us out. But as you notice when you get into your yoga poses, they tend to feel sensationally different on each side. And 2 more in and out of this side, letting anything pop or snap that needs to. The body likes to make sounds as we invite lubrication into our joints. We'll add a twist to this at your own pace. Left hand on the earth or a block as your right hand can press away on the thigh or reach up to the sky, or even come back for your extended left foot or ankle. And as always, your neck is in charge of your head, so you could look right or you could look up, and you could also drape your head if that feels more kind on your bones. And wherever you are, breathe space around your bones, around the hips, thigh, the low back, and the side body. Take 3 more breaths in and out of this shape. And after your next inhale, if you've got the foot, let it go without slingshotting, and then just come back to center. For our forward bend, we'll straighten our right leg. Same version as last time. Half monkey for Brian, 3-faced forward bend for Monica, half frog for Melody, and full splits for Ivy. What's going to feel really juicy and authentic for your body? Come into that expression. Find the forward fold as you feel ready, and then breathe in and out of sensations, emotions, and thoughts as they come and go in this pose. Two more in and out. Stay really interested in the top and bottom 5% of your breath cycle. Like how big and how empty you can allow your lungs to be. And after your next exhale, can begin to inhale yourself upright out of the pose, coming forward with your hands and passing through tabletop or down dog as you'd like as we work ourselves back to child's pose. Take your time, do anything in between first before we come back into that heels and hips meeting shape. Intuitive movements and authentic sounds. Eventually returning the knees to the earth and the hips to the heels, and rest. From here, we'll move to a rich stimulation of the glute and IT bands. So there's options. Like Monica, you could come into swan pose. It's the yin variation of pigeon, as it's less assertive, so there's less of a drive to get the shin to the front of the mat or to flex the front foot. As long as there's nothing tweaky, nothing electric in the front knee, we're looking, the target area in any shape is this outer hip, glute, and IT band. Pigeon's nice because it allows a little extra stress on the back hip flexor. Or as we look at square and shoelace as the ladies move into forward bends, again looking to get this in the outer hip and IT. Square has similar orientation with the knees and hips, so if the knee doesn't work for you in one, it might not in the other. What's nice about this shape is it's getting both hips at the same time, as is shoelace. And unlike square, shoelace crosses the midline, so For some bodies, it's a little more beneficial for sciatica and different things around that area. As you can see, props can be really nice under the glutes to sit on or under the knees to support the bones. Anytime anything's elevated, props can be nice. If none of these versions are working for you, or you just want something that feels even less stimulating, taking eye of the needle, sometimes called swan or pigeon, on the wall. And using a wall is nice, although not necessary, because the wall will support you, so you don't need to support your legs. What it allows, and what you can see Brian doing, is he can use his one hand to press away on the bent knee and maybe get a little more resistance or a little more stimulation in the outer hip. Wherever you are, adjust anytime you need, and then otherwise give yourself permission to go down heavy and be fidget-free. Continue to scan the body for places to relax below your ribs, below the waist. Your IT band can hold up a car, so it can most likely hold up the weight of your body. I share this to give you some trust in your body's structure and support some release in your body's muscles. Likewise, release any tension you can in the neck, in the jaw, in the skull. As you breathe down into sensations in the outer hip, maybe the back hip crease. And breathe out as you yield or surrender to gravity. The yin tissue we stimulate in these shapes, the fascia, the ligament tissue, is more like taffy than the muscles, which are a little more like rubber bands, in that it takes some time and some deep stimulation for the body to really get its elongation and useful stress. So we give ourselves time in this shape to just be present and breathe with sensations, with emotions, with thoughts. And notice how the pose changes over time. The layers of muscles peeling away and the rhythms of our body increasing in intensity and then yielding to something a little more gentle. Wherever you are, take 3 more gentle and generous breaths in and out of this shape. Your next breath in and out completely. Thank you for breathing slow. You can begin to inhale out to the other side. So again, from swan pose, maybe down dog, or wherever you want to go to transition to the other side, there's no hurry. If you're seated, maybe just uncrossing the legs, straightening the knees for a moment before taking the same shape. And if you're an eye of the needle like Brian, it can be nice to send the legs up the wall for a moment and then come into this on the other side in your own time. It's really important, quite crucial, that you don't feel rushed in this. We don't need to accelerate our heart rates. The yoga practice is everything between the shapes too. So enjoy all of the in-between. Enjoy the yin to yang continuum. There's no absolutes in this practice. And then set yourself up eventually with any props that you find helpful, most likely whatever you did on the other side. And then come forward and down to the forearms or all the way down to the forehead as your body allows. And breathe here into where you land, into the outer hips and into the low back. Particularly give your hands and your eyeballs permission to relax. We do a lot with our hands and with our eyes in our waking hours, and they're both really connected to our brain's activity. So One way to soothe and calm the mind is to really go placid in the hands and really let that root of the eyeballs soften, whether they're open or closed. Let your body be supple and in a place of receptivity. Yin by nature is spaciousness. It's the holding. It's the container you create for yourself and as a result for others. And it starts with listening. One of the best gifts you can give to your body, to your family members, your friends, your pets, is to listen. And one of the best ways I find to listen to my own body and to those around me is to breathe. To stay in a place of being willing to receive. Like taffy, these poses take time to open up, create space, create length. And like taffy, they're going to take time to recontract, to reintegrate, and come back together as you come out. Let's take a few more big breaths in and out. If you can find a new place to do less in your body. Part of this stillness is allowing the teaching or the wisdom that exists in this shape to surface. There's an intelligence in the yoga poses that your body can connect with on a cellular level. It has very little to do with anything I say or anything that you do or don't know. One more in and out of your willingness to listen and be present. And as you feel ready, use the inhale to inspire you to lift back up. Going somewhere neutral. If your legs are on the wall, send them straight up the wall. If you're in swan pose, down dog, maybe before child's pose. And if you're seated, you could straighten your legs for a moment. And sighing or moaning through any of these transitions is fully appropriate and might feel really good for you. From here, we'll move into side bends. So taking the variation that feels best in your body, we'll take this seated, either with one leg or both. So Ivy shows both leg variation, known as dragonfly. Melody's showing half frog pose, the right leg in frog. This is a great shape if it feels integral on your knee. And Monica, Brian are showing these versions of half butterfly. And then leaning or walking out onto the left hand or elbow to find the side bend. Props can be great under your tush to give you a little bit of leverage to lean forward, whether you use a blanket or even a bolster like Brian's showing to make sure that the sacrum can tilt forward, really is more safe for the vertebrae. And then you can reach for that extended left foot. Whether you get there or not doesn't matter. Some bodies have the range to get there like Ivy, and other people want to bring their foot to them, so a strap is a great option. And when you have something like a strap or the foot, you could resist a little and see if that helps spiral the right ribs back a little. that half moon quality as you open and expose the left side waist towards the sky. Or you could allow the shape to really be more passive and heavy and just let your body sink into the left side, the hand, the elbow, maybe putting a block or bolster under your forearm. Whichever variation feels good for you, allow yourself to settle and breathe into the 3-part breath, the waist, the ribs, and the shoulders and armpit of the whole right side body. Allowing your neck to control your head, whether it's neutral, whether you look up, whether you look down and tuck your chin in. Sometimes closing the eyes is really the best way to find out what would the neck want to do with the head if it was in charge. So often our neck and our head are governed by our eyeballs, by what we see. So in other words, they're governed by our brain. And in this practice, you're really being encouraged to be led by your body rather than what you think or see, connecting with how you feel. So feel 3 more breaths as you breathe down into sensations on the right side. And as you breathe out, 3 more exhales. Notice how you're growing deeper into the pose without force. There's no waiting in life. It's happening in real time. And keeping the body where it is, we'll just reach the right arm up on an inhale and away on an exhale, letting the fingers reach past the skin of the fingertips. Let the palm reach back and down towards the earth, and then breathe into that whole right side neck between the shoulder and your ear, into any rope-like sensations as you inhale, and release any added stress or tension in your jaw and teeth as you exhale. Few breaths here as you let your eyeballs go heavy and you let the skin on your eyebrow go smooth. Continuing to reach through that right arm. Use the left hand to support the head. You can inhale yourself back upright to seated. If you're in a one-legged pose, you'll switch sides. Otherwise, keeping the legs even, you'll just move into the side bend on the other side. And take your time in this transition. Use your hands to move your legs if that helps. Sigh or moan to release if you'd like. And bring any props with you as you set the architecture of your body up for the other side. Again, blankets and bolsters where they feel good, under the hips, under the knees, under the forearms. And then reach up and over with the left arm and find some length through that whole left side body. The gallbladder meridian we stimulate in swan pose in the outer hip. We also stimulate in the side body here. So breathe into that. As you feel the heaviness of this left thigh ground down with gravity towards the earth, you lift up and away through that whole left waist, finding a little bit of a balance of polarity, more so than like a battle of duality. So on that yin and yang continuum, how much does it feel good to activate and resist in your stretch? And how intuitive is it to be passive and allow? Continue to relax the muscles below your ribs, so everything in your low back and all the organs of digestion and your guts all the way down to your feet. And likewise, relax above your shoulders with the neck and head. Keeping this pose as it is, we'll move only the left arm. Eventually, on an inhale at your own time, reach it up, back, down, and away as you exhale. There's a bit of a lengthening of the arm away to create that polarity again, that 2 directions. And then you can breathe into the space that's created in the scalings, the little scales on the left side of your neck. Continuing to give your eyeballs permission to be heavy and the brow permission to smoothen out. Still stimulating the gallbladder meridian in the side body, particularly here in the side of your neck. You can stay here. If you need a little more tension, you could bring the right hand to the left side of your skull and add weight. If you need a little more support, you could put the right hand underneath the skull and add that extra bit of support. Either way, take 2 more in and out of wherever you're feeling this posture. Continuing to reach through the left arm, maybe supporting your head with your right hand. Inhale yourself back upright to seated. Maybe just let your head fall to the left again, a little counter stretch for the side of your neck. And you feel even. You can inhale the skull back upright and bring your legs back to a neutral shape, setting any props aside. Taking a moment to just be still, integrate, and feel into the effects of that posture. Move into a stimulation of the groin for this next shape. So from seated, you could come into dragonfly or frog pose. And these can be done on your mat, and they can be done on the wall. So frog pose is on a continuum with child's pose. It's bringing your knees even wider, maybe, in line with your hips, and your feet even wider. Whether they point together, point back, or even point out is really up to your bones and your tissues. Frog pose can be really nice with a bolster to support under the pubic bone and torso so your body has something to yield its weight into. Likewise, for an even gentler version on your bones, particularly your knees, frog pose can be done on the wall. With your hips and your knees about the same distance from the wall, you'll walk your feet as wide as you need to have a rich stimulation of the inner groin, the gallbladder, or liver meridian, without any stress on the inner knees. Dragonfly can be done seated or on the wall as well, and bring some stimulation of the urinary bladder of the hamstring into this pose. If you're coming into a seated forward bend, like all seated postures, it can be nice to be on a blanket or a prop. Putting something under the knees can also be really gracious for the body because it can bring a little bit of support for the backs of the knees as well as be kinder on the tissues in the low back. And as always, you can rest a bolster under your arms, your chest, your head to allow your body weight to have something to give to, or a little gentler to be in dragonfly on the wall like Ivy, allowing gravity to open the legs over time and let the arms rest wherever they feel good. In any of these shapes, whichever one your body's decided to be in, invite your inhales down so you're bringing the breath into the sensations in the groin, maybe in the backs of the legs, maybe in the low back body. Continue to meet your sensations with your breath. Find that watery quality again, that heaviness as you breathe into sensations. And out the nose. Keeping the lips closed is a great way to cultivate alchemy. Helps calm our central nervous system with our tongue on the roof of our mouth and our lips closed. So whether you're practicing yoga or walking down the street, you'd be encouraged to breathe through your nose. Unless, of course, you're feeling stressed or some irritation or excess heat. And anytime that happens, give yourself permission to sigh it out, let it go. Sighs and exhales are really parasympathetic nervous system breaths. They allow us to move away from flight, fight, and freeze into rest and digest, calming places. So we give our body little bits of stress, like a yoga pose, like a relationship. And then we give our body lots of breath and peace so we can learn to cultivate contentedness, even happiness, amidst discomfort. Something useful not only on the mat, but in your life. As you move about in the world, how beneficial it is to know how to be uncomfortable and happy at the same time. And you could even subtly smile here. It's little and it's not for me, I can't see it. But it's a way to tell your brain that you're at peace and happy. I have a teacher that would say, sometimes we smile because we're happy. And sometimes we're happy because we smile. Take 2 more really joyous breaths. Maybe just giving yourself permission to celebrate the fact that you're here to breathe in the first place, that you can breathe at all. To come out, as always, move slow. If you're in a forward bend, you'll inhale yourself up to seated, head is last. If you're in frog pose on your belly, child's pose, or coming forward onto your stomach can be really nice. If you're on the wall, I'd encourage you to use your hands to help close the legs and either send them straight up the sky or bring your knees into your chest. Take a moment to do something counter and intuitive to your body, whether that's rounding or hugging your shins. And we'll find ourselves coming into a neutral place. Here we'll come into a lengthening pose for the hamstring and the back body. So you could choose to bring both legs forward or do one leg at a time. As always, sitting on a prop can be nice, whether it's a cushion or a blanket. And anytime we extend the legs, it can be nice to prop behind the knees, as Brian is showing and Monica is showing. Again, giving some support to the hamstrings and some softness to the low back. And then folding forward. You could also choose to take a pose like half shoelace, which adds a little more weight to the extended thigh, maybe a little more stimulation of the hamstring. Whereas Ivy is in full caterpillar pose, full forward bend with no props. Flexy enough to clasp her hands beyond the soles of her feet. Whatever variation you're in, prop under the torso or not, allow your body to walk or cascade forward and down. And then breathe down into the urinary bladder meridian that runs up the back of your calf, hamstring, erector muscles, and into your brain. Also known as the Ida Pingala Nadi. This posture is for your body as well as for your brain, stimulating and balancing the left and right hemispheres of our intellect, as well as our soft tissues. Breathe into the softness of this pose and the tissues receiving the benefits. On every inhale, there's a length in the breath and in the body. And on every exhale, there's a depth to the amount of breath out into the surrender you invite and allow to arrive. can be nice to start with these alateral shapes in that they allow our bodies to receive the stimulation a little more evenly. Bilateral poses are a little more receptive in the body once we've been warmed up. So if you're in an alateral shape, slowly let your head be the last thing to come up as you inhale back up. If you're in a bilateral shape, you can stay as the rest of us switch sides. Using our hands to kind of move the legs around and sigh or moan as you'd like as you move props around to the other side. And take the time that you need to set yourself up. Same pose. Other side, of course, it's going to feel a little different. Squaring your torso over that extended leg as you inhale, find length, and as you exhale, cascade the body forward and down, letting your crown round in. Last. Even the chin tucks in. Allows the stimulation to really come into the upper back as well. Urinary bladder is a water element. Posture, it's stimulating watery tissues. Our whole body is really watery, is really wet on the inside of our waterproof skin. And so we give the body stress in these yin poses to really saturate the tissues and bring new lubrication into the bones that make up our joints. So as you inhale, let that stimulant of your breath soak into your body. And as you exhale, there's a little bit of that sponge-like quality of wringing out the organs as the belly contracts a bit to press away any old air, allowing room for something new. Last few breaths in and out of this shape. We really get the most stimulation at the top and bottom of our breath, and particularly at the end of a shape we've been holding. So these last three really play with the peak and valley of your breath. As we know, our energy flows where our attention goes, especially at the top and bottom of your breath cycle, especially during breath retention. So after your next exhale, there's a little upper body strength, letting the head stay heavy as you inhale yourself back up to seated. Straighten out that second leg as you move any props away. Or feet on the ground, hug your knees into your chest. You might also like to plant your hands on the ground behind you, plant your feet on the ground in front of you, and just lift up for a moment. Come into a reverse table, or hands can point back, come into crab pose. It's a little more yang. It's just an opportunity to re-lengthen and create some blood and chi flow through the hip flexors where we had a little bit of a tourniquet, a little bit of a pinch on some of those tissues. Find yourself in a neutral pose once you've done any last little adjustments you need, and take a moment and just be with the body. And find yourself in a final resting pose. This could look like your legs up the wall, maybe a blanket under the sacrum to support you. This could look like Shavasana pose or reclined butterfly. Props where they're useful, whether you like a blanket under your head, maybe one rolled underneath the neck to support the cervical spine. You could have a blanket under the knees to support the low back. And if you're in a butterfly, having that underneath the shins or knees can be nice to help decrease the amount of stress on the inner leg lines. And hands end up where they feel best. So palms open away from the waist might be nice. Some bodies like to put one hand on the belly or one hand on the heart, so you can feel and be connected into these intuitive places. Whichever shape you land in, really allow yourself to be there. Let your bones get heavy. Allow your muscles to relax. Let your skin drape on your body, particularly the structure of your cheekbones and face. And if you find you're still in your breathing after your next inhale, open your mouth and let that go too. Rest. Your eyes closed and your body still. Become aware of the rivers of aliveness you can feel coursing down the stillness of your arms and hands. You can really feel prana, life force, in your body when you're still enough. Likewise, you can feel into your true feelings when your emotions are calm enough. And you can sense your intuition when your mind is quiet enough. It's this willingness to be quiet and listen, where we learn so much about ourselves. And then to bring what we learn into our life. As we inhale through the nose, bring new life into your body. And feel free to part your lips as you exhale. wiggling your toes. You can open and close your hands or point and flex your feet back to life. Doing some circles in the wrists if you'd like, some circles in the ankle. Both directions, maybe letting your head fall side to side in both directions. And then inhale if you'd like to stretch out your arms long up by your ears as you breathe in. And then hug your knees into your chest if you'd like as you breathe out. We'll work ourselves to roll slowly over to the left side body and just cradle the head, maybe embrace your knees as you support yourself in this fetal shape. As we come out of corpse pose, we're reborn into this body with its ever-changing new qualities, new cells, new space, new awareness. It's a place to remember why you're here on your mat and on this planet. It's a place to recall your intention for your day and your life. And so as you use your in-breath to inspire you back up to seated, you can bring that with you as you come back upright. And find yourself in a comfortable seat. It might look like you sitting on your ankles or heels as you kneel. Or if you choose to cross your legs in front of you, most bodies will feel better sitting up on a prop. We want to allow our hips to be above our knees so our low back can be tall without much effort. And just settle your eyes down on the ground if you like them open, or if you prefer to close, center your gaze, the center of your brow about an inch in from your skin. It's a place to just body scan and be aware of the affect of your practice, your breath, and your rest. And you can bring your hands to your heart center, or organs of action, back to their place of origin. The hands are an extension of the heart. And a slight bow of our head and chin in. We bow our mind in towards the heart center as well. And really to honor yourself. All the energy it took for you to arrive on this planet, all the energy that has sustained you here until this time, and all the energy and effort you just put into being on your mat. It's a moment to really honor yourself. I honor you, and I'm privileged to share this time with you. Thank you for taking this time to be on your mat and in your practice. Namaste.